Today, we are fulfilling that responsibility with regards to Thomas Raynor James. We are going to undo what is a wrongful conviction of an innocent man. Today, we are undoing an injustice, which was an unintentional wrong. We are going to ask the courts, our court of law, to give Mr. James the freedom he deserves. And his mom's going to be standing right by him. I want to again thank my team for helping do this. And we are going to be filing in court a post-conviction relief and to vacate his judgment and his sentence and to set him free and his family free. Mom, he's free. Hopefully the courts will grant you the freedom that you've been looking for so many years. Again, I want to convey my condolences to the McKinnon family. All of us do. I speak for all of us here, including the James family. I'm sure their heart breaks, and I break for them. We all do. Because what they believed was a just result for the loss of their loved one has been stolen from them. They felt they had received justice for decades, and now it's gone. With me, as I said, are many of the people who worked hard and contributed and led to this decision to ask the courts to release Thomas James from prison. Again, I introduced the team of my Justice Project, but I also want to introduce the chief of my investigative division. There he is. Emiliano Tamayo, and behind him, Investigator Passmore. And Eunice Cooper is not here. But these men went all over the state of Florida and into correctional facilities and met with inmates. They've met with Mr. James, as has our team here. And they spent countless hours, infinite, reviewing reports and evidence, tracking down and interviewing critical witnesses, and submitting and resubmitting evidence to the laboratory for DNA and fingerprint analysis. I want to just stop and thank you, gentlemen, and Ms. Eunice Cooper, for your dedication and what you have done and doing something so right. All of our efforts were to try to reconstruct the events that happened in 1990. After a thorough investigation of all the elements related to this homicide, you will all see we have outlined it in great detail in our motion, which we are going to walk across the street and present to the court shortly. There are, however, in that large motion, a few notable facts that I just want to bring to your attention. As to the theory that Thomas James was arrested in a case of mistaken identity, this theory was never really true because the second Tommy James was already in custody the day the crime occurred. This case has gone through numerous, by the way, appellate reviews by the circuit courts and by our appellate courts. And I believe there have been something like 10 post-conviction reviews in all. The Innocence Project had twice reviewed this case over the last 20 years. And there was a private detective who also reviewed this case. None were successful, unfortunately, in finding Mr. James innocent before we got involved, before Natalie Figures got involved and Keone McGee. We conducted an extensive and comprehensive review of all the evidence and the witnesses in this case, and you will see that it is outlined there. We had to resurrect from archives over 10,000 pages of documents from the criminal courts, all the various state agencies. We took sworn statements of important individuals and witnesses to ensure a thorough investigation was conducted. We had to obtain files from the Innocence Project of Florida to understand why, after so many years of review, the Innocence Project of Florida could not accept this matter for litigation or make a presentation to law enforcement agencies such as ours. Their files contain thousands of pages of documents, including the public defender's office, their file on this case. We also sought to obtain new evidence, such as DNA, and we submitted fingerprints for reanalysis to fully clarify every possible source and information. Given all that has been gathered, and in the light of many recent findings about eyewitness testimony, tough questions have arisen about this conviction. For example, Dorothy Walton's identification at trial was very strong. She said, "I'm positive of it. I'll never forget his face." It's important to understand that the state's case back in 1991 rested largely upon that positive identification of Thomas Raynor James by Dorothy Walton as the gunman inside the apartment. There was really no other evidence of his guilt. In fact, there was no physical evidence that we could find tying anyone to the crime. This past fall, Miss Walton said she had some possible concerns. And then very recently as just a few weeks ago, she told Ms. Figgers and us that now she believes her identification was a mistake.